Have you ever been in a conversation and suddenly your brain just stops? You smile, you nod, but inside you're screaming, say something, anything.
Oh, yes, that awkward silence where you can hear the tension in the air, especially when you're speaking English. Your mind knows the words, but they disappear when you need them most.
Exactly. And the funny part is, it doesn't mean your English is bad. Even native speakers run out of things to say sometimes. But here's the difference. Fluent speakers know how to recover.
And that's what today's episode is all about. We'll show you 9 simple but powerful tricks to never run out of things to say again. No awkward silences, no panic, no mental blackouts.
By the end of this episode, you'll know how to keep any conversation flowing, whether you're chatting with a stranger, a coworker, or your English teacher.
You'll learn how to sound natural, confident, and even interesting, all without memorizing complicated phrases or scripts.
Let's start with the truth. Most people who struggle in conversations don't actually have a vocabulary problem. They have a flow problem. They hesitate, overthink, and lose their rhythm.
That's so true. I've seen learners who know hundreds of words, but when it's time to talk, their sentences sound robotic or disconnected.
So here's the good news. Conversation is a skill, not a talent. And once you understand how it works, you can train yourself to keep talking smoothly.
Exactly. In this episode, we'll uncover the small habits fluent speakers use, from repeating ideas naturally, to asking better questions, to telling little stories that keep people hooked.
Think of this episode as your English conversation survival kit. No matter where you are, at a cafe, in a meeting, or chatting online, these 9 tricks will help you keep any conversation alive.
So let's jump in. Trick number 1 is something super simple but incredibly powerful, and you can start using it today. Okay, let's start with our first trick, the echo technique. It's one of my favorites because it's so simple, yet it makes you sound instantly more fluent and engaged.
Yeah, this one's great. The echo is basically when you repeat part of what the other person says, not like a parrot, but as a way to keep the conversation going naturally.
Exactly. For example, if I say, I started learning Spanish last year, you could reply with something like, oh, last year? That's awesome. How's that going so far?
Right. You didn't change the topic. You just picked one small piece of what I said last year and used it as a bridge. That's what fluent speakers do without even realizing it.
It keeps the rhythm alive. You're showing the other person that you're listening, and at the same time, you're giving yourself an easy entry point to respond.
Here's another example. I might say, I've been working from home lately. You could respond, from home. Do you like it, or do you miss the office?
Exactly. It feels effortless, right? And what's beautiful about this technique is that it works in any situation, formal or casual.
The echo doesn't have to be long either. Sometimes it's just 1 or 2 words. If someone says, it was exhausting, you can say, exhausting? And they'll usually keep talking automatically.
It's like magic. You're giving them permission to open up, and you don't have to think of something new to say every time.
And if you combine this with good tone and curiosity, you'll sound confident and natural. You're not forcing conversation. You're co-creating it.
So here's your mini challenge for today. Try the echo technique 3 times in your next English conversation. You'll be amazed how easily people respond and how relaxed you feel.
Coming up next, we'll show you another trick that's just as powerful, one that helps you ask questions people love to answer. So, trick number 2, ask layered questions. This one completely changes the quality of your conversations.
Totally. Most English learners ask questions that are too thin, like, do you like your job? Or where are you from? These are fine for starting, but they don't go anywhere.
Exactly. They're safe, but they don't give the other person much to build on. A layered question, on the other hand, invites a story, not just a short answer.
Let's take your example. Instead of, do you like your job? You could ask, what's the most interesting part of your job? Or, has your job changed the way you see things?
That's perfect. You're not just asking for information. You're showing curiosity about their experience.
And here's the cool part. Layered questions work even better when you connect them to what the other person just said. So if they tell you, I've been working as a designer, you could follow up with, oh, nice. What kind of design do you enjoy most?
Yes, you're building layers. Each question goes a little deeper. That's what creates flow.
Think of it like a tree. The first question is the trunk, but every follow-up question grows a new branch. The more branches you grow, the richer the conversation becomes.
And here's something I tell my students. When you ask good questions, people automatically see you as confident and interesting. You don't have to dominate the conversation. You just guide it.
Exactly. So if you ever feel stuck, ask yourself, how can I make this question more personal or specific? That one thought can transform a dull chat into something meaningful.
So here's your mini challenge. Next time you talk to someone in English, take one normal question and make it layered. Watch how the other person opens up.
And next, we'll show you how to use those answers to tell short, natural micro stories that make you unforgettable. Okay, trick number 3, share micro stories. This is one of my favorite tools because it instantly makes you sound more natural and memorable in English.
Yeah, and I think this is what separates fluent speakers from just good speakers. Fluent speakers don't just answer questions, they add tiny stories that give color to what they're saying.
Exactly. And when we say micro story, we mean something super short, maybe 10 to 20 seconds long. Just a little moment from your life that connects to the topic.
For example, if someone asks, "Do you like cooking?" You could just say, "Yeah, I do." But that ends the conversation.
Or you could say, yeah, last week I tried to make sushi for the first time and it completely fell apart. Suddenly there's a picture in the listener's mind and they want to respond.
Exactly. They'll probably laugh and say, "Oh no, what happened?" And boom, you got a natural, flowing conversation.
Micro stories work because people connect to experiences, not just information. When you share a small moment, a funny mistake, a surprise, a feeling, you create emotion. And emotion is what keeps conversations alive.
And the best part? You don't need a perfect English story. In fact, the simpler the better. You just need a beginning, a small event, and a short reaction.
Like, yesterday I got lost looking for the gym, but I accidentally found this amazing bakery. That's it. It's simple, human, and it opens the door for new questions.
Plus, microstories show your personality. They make you sound confident without trying too hard.
So if you're an advanced learner and you want to sound more like a native, start collecting these mini moments. Think of them as conversation gems you can pull out anytime.
Exactly. Write down 3 little stories from your week. They don't have to be dramatic. Even small things count.
And next, we'll reveal a secret that many fluent speakers don't even realize they use, the 70-30 listening rule.
All right, trick number 4, the 70-30 listening rule. This one surprises a lot of learners because it's not about speaking more, it's actually about speaking less.
Right. The idea is simple. In a good conversation, you should listen about 70% of the time and speak about 30%.
Exactly. When you do that, you create space for the other person, and that's when conversations become real, not just polite exchanges.
A lot of learners feel pressure to talk nonstop in English because they're afraid of silence or of sounding boring. But fluent speakers don't panic during pauses. They use them.
Yeah, silence can actually be powerful. It gives you time to think, and it shows the other person that you care about what they're saying.
And when you listen actively, nodding, reacting, or repeating key words, you send a signal, I'm with you. That's how connection happens.
Here's a quick example. Let's say someone says, "I've been traveling a lot lately." Instead of immediately replying with your own story, you could say, "Really? Where have you been going?" Or, "Traveling a lot? That sounds exciting. What's been your favorite place?"
Exactly. You're listening first and then responding in a way that invites more detail. That's how conversations breathe.
And it's interesting. When you listen more, people usually find you more interesting. It's one of the best-kept secrets of communication.
So true. When people feel heard, they naturally open up and the conversation flows. You don't need to push it, it becomes effortless.
So, the next time you talk in English, remember this ratio: 70% listening, 30% speaking. Watch how it changes the dynamic instantly.
And speaking of changing dynamics, our next trick will help you sound instantly more engaging, curious, and alive in conversation.
That's right. Up next, we're diving into the curiosity hook, one of the most powerful ways to keep people talking for hours.
All right, trick number 5, the curiosity hook. This one is a game changer. If you master it, you'll never have to force a conversation again.
Exactly. The curiosity hook is all about showing genuine interest. You use curiosity like a magnet to pull people in. When you're curious, the conversation drives itself.
The best part? You don't have to fake it. Just focus on one small detail the other person mentions and dig deeper. For example, if they say, "I just moved to London," you can ask, "Oh, wow, what made you choose London?"
Yes, that question has energy. It's not random, it's personal. And notice how it opens the door for a story, not just a yes or no.
Here's another one. If someone says, "I'm really into photography lately," instead of saying, "That's nice," ask, "What kind of photography do you like most?" Or, "How did you get into it?"
Exactly. And what's cool is that curiosity naturally makes your tone sound friendlier. You don't have to try to sound fluent, you just become more expressive.
Right, because curiosity changes your energy. It's like saying, "Tell me more, I want to know you." People love that. It makes them feel valued.
And here's something advanced learners often forget. Curiosity works even when you don't know much about the topic. You can still ask, "That's interesting, what's that like?" Or, "I've never tried that, what's the best part?"
That's so true. You don't need knowledge, you just need interest. It's what makes fluent speakers sound authentic and relaxed.
So your mini challenge: next time you talk to someone, focus on being curious about one thing they say. Ask one extra question. You'll be surprised how easily the conversation grows.
And coming up next, we'll reveal a trick that connects all your ideas smoothly so your speech sounds natural and professional at the same time.
Yep, it's all about bridge phrases. Once you know how to use them, you'll sound like you've been speaking English your whole life. Okay, trick number 6, bridge phrases. These are the secret sauce of smooth conversation. They connect your ideas so your speech flows, not jumps.
Exactly. Think of bridge phrases like little glue words. They hold your thoughts together. Without them, conversations can sound like a list. Idea, pause, idea, pause.
Right. Let's take an example. If you're talking about your weekend, instead of saying, "I went hiking, it was great, the view was beautiful," you can say, "I went hiking and actually it was amazing, the view was just beautiful."
Yes, that small bridge and actually makes it sound so natural. Native speakers use these all the time without thinking.
Here are a few you can start using today. By the way, speaking of that, actually, that reminds me. Anyway, so the thing is,
Those phrases are lifesavers when your brain freezes. They buy you a second to think while keeping the rhythm alive.
exactly. Imagine you forget what to say. You can just use a bridge phrase to reconnect. For example, "Anyway, what I was saying is," or, "So, where was I?" It sounds natural and confident.
And bridges don't only connect your sentences, they also connect people. You can use them to link back to something your partner said earlier. Speaking of travel, didn't you mention you went to Japan last year?
That's so powerful. You're showing that you listen and remember details. That's what makes conversations feel alive.
So here's your challenge. Choose 3 bridge phrases from our list and use them today. Don't worry about perfection, just slip them in naturally.
And when you do, you'll sound smoother, more spontaneous, and more connected than ever before.
Next, we'll talk about something deeper. How to go beyond facts and start speaking with emotion.
Because real connection isn't built with words, it's built with feeling.
All right, trick number 7. Talk about emotions, not just facts. This is what turns a nice conversation into a real one.
Exactly. A lot of advanced learners focus on saying the right words or using perfect grammar, but real communication isn't about correctness. It's about connection.
Yes, when you share how you feel, you're not just exchanging information, you're inviting empathy. That's how people remember you.
Let's look at an example. Imagine someone says, "I started a new job last week." You could just reply, "That's great." Polite, but kind of empty.
Or you could respond with emotion. Oh, wow, that must be exciting, or maybe a bit stressful too. Suddenly, you've opened a real door.
Exactly. You're giving the other person space to share their experience, not just their answer. That's what fluent, confident speakers do all the time.
And when you talk about your own emotions, it creates authenticity. You could say, honestly, I felt nervous the first day of my new job too. That one line turns a surface chat into a real exchange.
Yes, emotions make you relatable. You don't need to act or exaggerate. Just say how you really felt. Tired, proud, confused, inspired. Those words are powerful.
And here's something interesting. When you share an emotion, people often respond with one too. It's like emotional ping pong.
Right. If you say, "I was so nervous before my presentation," the other person might say, "Oh, me too. I always get that feeling." And just like that, you've built trust.
So, your challenge the next time you tell a story or respond to someone, add one emotion word, just one. Watch how it transforms the tone instantly.
Exactly. People forget facts, but they remember how you made them feel. And speaking of feelings, our next trick is about something we all experience: mistakes. Because if you can turn your mistakes into opportunities, you'll never lose confidence in conversation again. Okay, trick number 8. Turn mistakes into opportunities. This one might surprise you, but it's one of the biggest mindset shifts fluent speakers have.
Yes, most learners fear mistakes. They think, if I make one, people will notice and I'll sound bad. But here's the truth. Mistakes are conversation starters, not enders.
Exactly. Native speakers make mistakes all the time. They mispronounce things, forget words, or mix ideas, but they keep talking. That's the difference.
And often, a small mistake can even make the conversation more interesting. For example, if you use the wrong word, just laugh and say, "Oops, that came out funny," or "I meant this, not that." It shows confidence and humor.
Yes, that moment of honesty makes people like you more, not less. It's real. You're showing personality instead of perfection.
One of my students once said, "I'm boring," instead of "I'm bored," and we laughed so hard. It actually made her sound more relaxed and human.
Exactly. When you laugh at your own mistakes, you take away their power. You stop worrying, and your English starts to flow.
And here's a little mindset trick. Every time you make a mistake, tell yourself, "I just learned something new about how English works." It's not failure, it's feedback.
I love that. Think of mistakes as many lessons, live, in real time. They teach you faster than any grammar book ever could.
Plus, when you handle mistakes with humor or curiosity, people feel more comfortable talking with you. It turns pressure into connection.
So, your challenge. In your next English conversation, if you make a mistake, don't apologize. Smile, correct yourself if you want, and move on confidently.
Because that's what fluent speakers do. They don't chase perfection, they chase connection.
And speaking of connection, our final trick ties everything together. It's simple, but it's the foundation of every great conversation.
Yep, our last one. Be curious, be human, and be you. Let's wrap this up with a little inspiration. All right, we've made it to our final trick. Be curious, be human, be you.
This might sound simple, but it's really the foundation of everything we've talked about today. Because all the techniques, the echo, the questions, the bridge phrases, they only work if you bring yourself into the conversation.
Exactly. You can learn every English phrase in the world, but if you're not curious or authentic, the conversation won't flow. Fluency isn't just about words, it's about presence.
Yes. Think about the people you love talking to. They're not perfect speakers. They just make you feel comfortable because they're real.
And that's what we want for you. Don't hide behind grammar rules or big words. Speak with curiosity. Ask questions that come from your heart. Share little moments from your life.
Because connection doesn't come from sounding perfect. It comes from being genuine.
And remember, being human means you'll sometimes forget words, change topics too quickly, or say something awkward. That's okay. Everyone does. What matters is that you keep showing up and keep talking.
Yes. Every time you open your mouth in English, you're practicing courage. You're building confidence. You're doing something thousands of people are afraid to do.
So true. And that's why we believe fluent conversation isn't about never running out of things to say. It's about trusting yourself enough to keep going.
Exactly. English fluency isn't about being perfect. It's about being curious, being human, and being you.
We hope these 9 tricks give you the tools and the confidence to turn every English chat into something natural and fun.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to follow our podcast and share it with a friend who's learning English too.
And remember, every conversation is a chance to grow, to connect, and to shine in your own voice.
Keep speaking, keep learning, and most importantly, keep being you.